All right, guys, welcome out to the KSL Sports post-draft, post-rounds 2 and 3 NFL draft coverage here at KSLSports.com, on KSL Sports Facebook and YouTube pages as well. I'm Sam Farnsworth with KSL Television. Of course, we have our roundtable joining us once again. We've got Trevor Allen up here, who writes for does a lot of our Utes coverage and the Crimson Corner at KSLSports.com. We've got Mitch Harper up here, our BYU insider with the Cougar Sports Saturday, as well as Cougar Tracks, and Kyle Ireland, one of our KSLSports.com producers and writer extraordinaires, I guess. I don't know what the good titles are for y'all, but I think I did pretty good.
I'll take it.
All right.
All right. I'll take it.
Hey, but today we are all NFL. Hey, Zach Hickens sighting. Man, this camera's backwards. I'm pointing over. All right. Hey, let's do this. Let's talk about the NFL draft today, rounds 2 and 3. Let's get straight to it with our locals here, because we start getting close to the end of the third round there, and it kind of felt like, wow, this isn't going to happen. You know, we kind of privately set the over-under here in the KSL Sports Department at 3.5 Utes to be drafted today, and it looked like for a while there we were going to be way under that. But by the end of the round, it heated up pretty quickly. Let's start with you, Trevor, covering a lot of these guys. Were you at all surprised that it took a while for some of these guys to come off the board, namely more notably Zach Moss, and maybe even surprised that that Blackman went as high as he did too?
I didn't think Julian Blackman was going to get drafted today, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be in that 4th, 5th round, and I was very surprised that the Colts snagged him in round 3, but I also think it's a great spot for him. And it also really shows that, the Colts are believing in him, even though he suffered that injury in the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon. But then you also, I was a little shocked that Jalen Johnson fell all the way to, mid to late 2nd round.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Johnson did a teleconference with the Bears media, and he said that he was shocked that he fell a little bit, but he wasn't really sure if it was because of his shoulder injury or anything. But he says that now he has a chip on his shoulder. But also seeing that right after Julian Blackman, so we go from 50th to 85th before another Ute is taken, and then we go back to back with Julian Blackman and Zach Moss. And then, Terrell Burgess sneaks in there right at the end of the 3rd round. I thought Bradley and I could have jumped into the 3rd round, but it looks like he'll probably go in the 4th round. But all in all, I think it was a little trendy at times to where we were like, okay, there's going to be a lot of Utes taken. And then, during the a lot of the 2nd round, we were like, this isn't looking good. Jalen's dropping. And then it really just shot up right after that.
Hey, Mitch, what stood out to you in day 2 of the draft with the 2nd and 3rd round? Trevor used the word trendy. I think we did see some trends there. You'd see the receiver trend. We started to see the linebacker trend going there for a while, continue to see offensive linemen flying off the board. Did anything stand out to you about maybe surprises or anything like that?
Well, I really was impressed with the fact that Utah did get 4 guys drafted in day 2. I mean, according to what KSL Stats and Info team, Trevor Allen brought the stat, most draft picks through 3 rounds in Utah football history. So that's pretty noteworthy for Utah to have that. I really thought it was going to be probably around maybe 2 or 3 guys tonight, but to get 4, that was significant. Even in our pre-draft show, Jeremiah Jensen said that Julian Blackman would be the biggest riser. So a little bit of a bold prediction there from JJ, but he pulled it off, and Blackman going to the Colts was, I think, pretty surprising to see him go when he did, but a good spot nonetheless for him. But yeah, I thought that was the biggest surprise to me as far as the local standpoint, just that 4 Utes went tonight. And I think that overall the NFL draft has been a lot of just really elite athletes, even more than feels like it's usual. You're seeing all these great 40 times from these players. If you have any sort of injury history, you're going to slip. And if you're someone that has elite measurables, elite 40 times, elite verticals, you're going to go probably higher than maybe your production would have suggested at the college football ranks. So those are some of the big takeaways for me.
Yeah, I think we hit that stage in the draft now where there's really no rhyme or reason to it. It's really what each team's big board looks like, right? When you see a guy like Keyshawn Vaughn get taken by the Bucs with the 76th pick at the running back position and Zach Moss is still available, you're like, wait, What are they seeing? Obviously, that's their own scouting report. That's their homework, and that's the guy that they love, right? So we're kind of at that stage in the draft where teams are maybe not always taking the best available player, but whoever's the best on their board.
Yeah, and Trevor was having a little bit of a meltdown when he saw Keyshawn Vaughn go to 76. He's like, I don't understand the NFL draft anymore. I'm like, Trevor, Zach Moss is going to go. Just hold on. He's going to be okay.
I didn't understand it. He was rated like 4 or 5 spots below Zach. It just, I mean, and I knew that Tampa Bay had interest in Zach, and so to me, and Sam, you probably know this, having covered the draft in Denver for so many years, just how really odd it can be.
Yeah, well, I mean, John Elway is one of the kings of saying, well, we're going to stick to our board no matter what's on there. And I think you saw that tonight when they took another receiver right away. You're like, oh, right. No, they're trying to keep pace with the Chiefs here. And then some of the other picks they made later as well. Kyle, I want to ask you, who do you think, if you can share an opinion with us on this, who do you think of those 4 Utes taken maybe found the best fit today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say for the Colts, obviously a Colts fan here, but I'm going to say Julian Blackmon just because there's been some rumors about Malik Hooker, their safety right now. He's going into a contract year. There was some buzz about possibly trading him before or during the draft. And so with 1 year left, he could potentially step in. Blackmon could for Hooker, leaving in free agency a year from now. And so I think that's a really soft landing spot for him where he doesn't have the immediate pressure to come in, make an impact. He can heal up from this injury, and then a year from now he can really step into that starting position with the Colts. And so I think out of everybody, he just, with an injury, being able to just kind of have a soft landing spot is really good with him being in Indianapolis. I was also just shocked that Zach Moss, we talked about the injuries with Jalen Johnson, Zach Moss, and Julian Blackmon all having injuries, but Blackmon, he leaps up the board with an injury to the Colts, whereas, maybe Johnson and Moss fell a little bit because of their injuries. And so, like you said, Sam, there really is no rhyme or reason because sometimes the injuries can have these guys fall just based off of, these teams' big boards, whereas others, the Colts clearly didn't think that Johnson or Blackmon's injury was going to hinder him at all and that they felt comfortable going for a 3rd-round pick with him.
You talked, Kyle, about things that shocked you. I was just shocked and that ESPN and the NFL Network were focusing on all these sad, negative stories from these athletes. I felt like I was reading like obituary after obituary.
Yeah.
Athletes. I was like, you know what? Watching great programs like KSL Sports Beat, you guys will do human interest stories, but it makes me feel good. I'm seeing T. Higgins go off the first pick of the board, and I'm seeing like a basic stat on his profile. Mother battled drug addiction for 6 months. Does that need to be?
Yeah. No.
Does that need to be there? I don't feel so. I don't feel like that needed to be there.
I'm right on board with you there. I saw a lot of talk on Twitter about that as well. It just didn't feel totally necessary. It felt like that was the theme of the broadcast. And I know none of us would do this, but if there's a drinking game tonight, there'd be a lot of people that they'd already be in bed by now, right?
One of the people on Twitter hit it on the head. Am I watching the NFL draft or am I watching This Is Us? Because that spoke to me because it was so true. I was just like, look, I love a feel-good story. I love that. But at the same time, like some of it was just a little bit too deep. Like, hey, ESPN, that probably could have been left outside. Like, let this guy celebrate his moment. But the NFL draft production has been really fun to watch. All the homes, the lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's been kind of a fascinating dynamic that I've enjoyed.
And not to make light of any of those stories either. I want to make it clear that we don't want to make light of it. We know that those are serious life events, but sometimes it felt like they're digging, 12 years into the past.
Exactly.
Just to add the drama to it. Yeah, I agree.
But two things that I noticed from, being in the coaches' rooms as they're shining in light. Was anybody bummed out that Vrabel was the only one in his war room today?
Yes.
For one. And then 2, Belichick's dog sitting in the chair during one of the picks.
Yeah, and we needed more shots of Kliff Kingsbury in his massively nice place down in Arizona, right? Hey,
yes, we needed more of that. That guy, he knows how to war room. I like that aspect to him.
We all want to be Kliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you serious? And I think I saw some tweets and videos of Coach McVay's home too. It looks eerily similar. I'm just saying that maybe they're neighbors. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, hey, so I love the conversations about tonight's picks. I'm excited to see what all four of those guys can do. Those four locals can do. But let's shift the folks before we wrap up. Let's look ahead to tomorrow really quick. What do you guys anticipate happening from a local standpoint? Mitch, I want to get your take. I know there's BYU guys. Let's start with you a little bit because I know there's BYU guys that could become late round picks. If not, maybe the flurry of undrafted signings happen with a handful of those guys. What do you think maybe BYU fans can look forward to tomorrow, if anything?
Yeah, I think the guy that, oddly enough, maybe might be the most intriguing guy is Tyson Williams, just because I think he's got probably the best NFL skill set. The only thing that really derailed him was injuries. He was well on his way to being a draftable prospect the way he was playing in his first 4 games before that ACL at BYU. I think Austin Lee, Dayangan Woloku are going to be high priority undrafted free agents with multiple teams pursuing them. The Patriots have been linked to Dayangan Woloku potentially, and Austin Lee has had some interest from some teams in the AFC North, also the Packers as well. So I think that we're going to see a lot of interest for those guys, but I don't see BYU most likely getting anyone drafted tomorrow, but they're definitely going to get undrafted free agent deals.
Hey, Kyle, let me ask you about the Aggies. That I think there's a couple of Aggies that we could see getting selected tomorrow. What do you think as far as Utah State has?
Yeah, I think that you'll see a couple of late round selections with Tipa Naliai and then also David Woodward. Interesting to see where they slide in, if it's a 6th or 7th round, but I think that you can expect both of them to, if not a late round selection, they'll sign a free agent deal tomorrow afternoon.
I'm going to stick with my dark horse pick for late round tomorrow, kicker Dominic Eberle. I'm just saying. There's a team that needs a kicker. Look for maybe a 7th round pick at a kicker. Trevor, how about for the Utes tomorrow? What can Ute fans look forward to in the final day of the draft?
I definitely think Bradley and I is going to be a guy who's going to probably be taken off the board in that 4th round. I don't want to predict anywhere like mid or anything anymore because it seems like I
come on, give us a prediction. Let's go.
But
come on, let's hear it, Trevor.
I'm thinking the first half of the 4th round is where Bradley and I is probably going to go, and then I think that Lecky Fotes is going to be behind him, probably in that late 4th, maybe 5th round. He may drop to that, but I don't see him dropping much farther past that. And then you have guys who are kind of, and as Sam pointed out in his mock draft, between 5th, 6th to undrafted, you've got Javelin Guidry, Francis Bernard, Tyler Huntley, John Pennicini, Darren Paulo. A lot of those guys are in the mix to get drafted. Francis Bernard, more than likely, will probably be around the 6th round, and same with John Pennicini around the 7th round as well.
All right, so a lot to look forward to, I think. Before we say goodnight, guys, let's see. Can you all do your – is this about what Roger
I'm glad you bring that
back
up.
a little bit.
By the end of the night, a little more? A little slouch down? Anyway, all right. That's the effect of a 5-hour day on the NFL draft, right? All right.
Hey, I tweeted it, though, but we all were Roger Goodell late in the round there. Yeah. I mean, I was starting to feel it by the end of the 3rd round. I was like, this is long, but by 6th, 7th round tomorrow, it's going to feel a little bit longer.
I felt it too, but then I told myself, hey, I got to enjoy this because this will be the last.
Hey, are these guys hearing me right now?
Hey, yeah,
who said Julian Blackman was going to get picked tonight? Who said it?
Mitch,
I want the whole world to know.
We gave you that love. How's it, JJ?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yep. Spot on pick.
I'm wrong 99% of the time.
Hey, for 1% of the time it works. That's
1% of the time it works.
Matters.
I'm the Sex Panther of sports.
Awesome.
Nostrils.
Love it. We love it. Cool. All right, guys. Hey, that was fun. Trevor, Mitch, Kyle. It's good to see you guys in our social distancing work environment. Hopefully we'll all be back together at the KSL Broadcast House again soon. In the meantime, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll have another exciting day of the NFL draft coming our way tomorrow with several more locals hopefully popping off the board. So, and of course, there'll be more. Does anyone know who's on tomorrow? Trevor, do you have an idea?
I think it's Tom. I know I'm on it. And
that's
then,
right, Tom. Zach Hicken.
Who else is on it?
Zach Hicken, one of our producers, will be on as well. Host of KSL Sports Team After Hours.
Too. I'm glad Zach will be on because he'll give us the full recap of Z-Dog laying down a KSL Sports wrap. So
Oh,
be
man.
on the lookout for that.
Yeah, if
And
anyone
then-
doesn't know
and
what
then,
we're
Sam,
talking
you
about, you
guys
just got
have,
to tune in. Got to tune in.
And then Sam, you guys have Sports Beat on Saturday at 6.
Yep, Sports Beat at 6 o'clock. Of course, we're going to have a lot with the guys who have been selected in these first 2 days. Whoever gets picked between now and then tomorrow, and then obviously Sports Beat Sunday, we'll do the full recap and full wrap of the NFL draft as well. So, all right, guys, sounds good. Have fun, and see you soon. And everyone else, we'll see you on the social media pages and Sports Beat. All right, good night.